Well, hello. Today we're going to do something a little different. This is halfway to being a review, halfway to being I guess, a rodeo. So we're going to look at two nibs on a Lamy 2000. So why these two nibs? So quick backstory so you understand what I'm doing during the video, and then we'll take a look at the pens and we'll talk about conclusions afterwards. So I have for years used and loved the Lamy 2000 fountain pen. It is my favorite. It is so perfect for me at school. Taking quick notes, occasionally correcting stuff, capping and uncapping, capping and uncapping. It just works perfectly. Screw cap, kind of a pain because you have to unscrew it, screw it, unscrew it, screw it, and yeah, I'm glad you're all not teenagers. But anyway, so Lamy 2000 was perfect for me. Plus, when you look at it, you're just like, oh, black pen. And it doesn't really stand out that I'm using a nice pen. So for years and years, I have used a Lamy 2000 with a fine nib. And then it was before the pandemic, I think. First day of school, I set it on my desk just for a second with the cap off. And it rolled off when nib first on the floor, and then the tines went rare, and so that was that. But I missed that pen so much, I immediately bought a new one, and that wasn't quite the same, but it worked, and I've used it ever since. So two Lamy 2000s with a fine point nib. The new fine nib wasn't quite as nice, but good enough. And then something happened this year. Something maybe worse. No disaster befell my pen this year. Instead, the school decided to go with different paper. I don't know what they used before, but I dug through my stuff and I found a sample of it. It's slightly crumpled, but we're going to use it for this. And then I have a sample of paper from this year. So, yeah, they're both scrap paper, so you're going to see other stuff on them. Actually, the one is part of a document I'm working on, but don't care. It doesn't identify students. We'll live with it. But anyway, I had to buy an extra fine because the new paper that they got, which if you're interested, it's Amazon Basics, is awful with a fountain pen. So, yeah, I bought an extra fine and I've been able to continue to use my Lamy 2000. So let's take a look. All right, so these are the two Lamy 2000s in question. You'll notice that the top one isn't quite as shiny as the bottom one, but otherwise they look the same. We'll do some close-ups and such where we can examine their nibs, but let's just take the extra fine as an example, and we will study the features. One of the features I'm always amazed by. Oh, God. So first thing, there's a piston turning knob up here. But it's so finely machined you hardly notice that it's there. You come down the body, nice macrolon finish, very plain clip. You see, some branding. I may have the exposure up too high for you to see that. Because we've got the little Lamy there right where my thumbnail is. My very yellow thumbnail. Let's not talk about that. But yeah, that's about it. Finial with that and a finial with nothing. And that's all the more branding you have. The clip. Very nice spring-loaded clip. Open it up. Some people complain about these ears. I don't mind them. And you can see here hints of where the ink window is. And you can see right around the ears a place where you can unscrew the section. Don't lose the piece of the ears or you'll never cap your pen again. And then we have steel. I think it's steel. It's either steel or aluminum. Down here holding a gold nib. Now this is the extra fine. Let's put the fine right beside it. So the fine is, let's turn down the exposure just a teeny bit more. Okay, so the fine is to your to your left. So fine is over here. Extra fine is to your right. So you can see a slight difference in the nibs. Oop. Let's see, can we get any closer? Alright, that's about as close as we get. So very subtle difference. Turn them over. Again, the extra fine is to the right side of the screen. The fine is to the left side of the screen. So yeah, there is a difference in nibs. It's just not a lot. So what about writing? So first thing I have here, this is a, can't remember what brand it is. Baron Fig. Isn't it? No, what is it? Yes, a Baron Fig Strategist note card, which I like them a lot. Favorite index card if we're going to favor index cards. So let's start with the Lamy Fine. Let's zoom in. All right, so I wrote a little bit with both pens. Both pens are using Omas black ink. So now if we're going to compare nib widths, you can definitely see a difference here. You know, with the fine, not a lot of line variation. The horizontals are definitely different from the verticals. With the extra fine, again, not a lot of line variation. A lot more similarity in width between the horizontals and the verticals. And if we do some swoopy doodles, so yeah, there's a distinct difference. Now, as far as paper, what I have here is, I'm sorry, but it is slightly crumpled. This is some stuff where I was working on physics curriculum and deciding which standards are where. And so we use the back side of it because I think I still need to do this. But it has suffered a bit. But this is old last year paper. So let's write on it first with the Lamy Fine. And I know you can't see it. It's blurry right now. A little spready, but not bad. And then with the extra fine, see, that would be totally acceptable. So, but both were usable, I felt. Now, this is a sample of this year's paper. There is some stuff on the other side, but it's not important. So we've got a Lamy. I seem to have found the one piece of good paper. Of course I did. So with the fine nib, of course it's doing great because, of course it is. Doggone it. And then the extra fine. So I didn't try this ahead of time. I could show you the papers that I'm grading and, grade them with the Lamy Fine and so on, but then you'd be seeing student work, and I, got to be careful of that. So, you're just going to have to trust me, except for this sheet of paper. This year's paper is awful. Maybe I grabbed this, there was a little bit of the old paper left or something. Yeah, I should have tried the paper before I started filming, but that's another story. So let's see if I can find some other crappy paper around the house.
20 minutes later.
Here we go. This stuff's awful. This is some kind of, no name, not even brand name, legal paper. So let's start with the Lamy Fine. Not legal paper, yellow paper. Very spready. And then the Lamy Extra Fine. So now I think you can see the advantage, because it's not quite as bad as this top sample, but it is pretty bad. And can you see the bleed through? There's dots all over the place here. So, yeah, so we're looking at two different nibs. I would say that the fine has a little bit more of the stub character of a Lamy nib. The extra fine probably has it, but I can't really tell. Let's just do my stub and my oblique tests. So they always say that a Lamy 2000 has a sweet spot, and the broader the nib is, the more sweet it is. Yeah. I'm a little put out by that, but yeah, you don't see much difference. Now, one thing I'll say for this extra fine, I don't like extra fine nibs. I don't own very many. Most of the ones I own are vintage. This one is a very smooth extra fine. You know, I have a Platinum 3776 with just a plain old fine nib, and I hate the thing, and I never ink it up. Just scratchy and miserable. So, Lamy did well with this. But like I said, with good paper, like the index card I opened this with, I would so much rather write with the fine than with the extra fine. So I feel like I left you as clear as mud on that, but at least you got to see a difference between a fine and an extra fine. And other than the fact I grabbed the one good sample of paper from school, I'm using the extra fine at school. So we'll have to ink up the fine a lot more at home and use it. I've actually been journaling with the fine at home. So anyway, I hope that was as clear as mud. Oh, this didn't go how I planned, but oh well, they can't all be winners. So if I'm not writing on crappy school paper, I do prefer the Lamy 2000 with the fine point. But at school, I just have to use the extra fine. There is no way around it. I wish I had the exact same ink in both of these pens, but no, I actually do have the same ink in both pens. I'm going to take that back. I haven't filmed a writing sample yet. But anyway, it doesn't look like much when you look at the two nibs. You're just like, really? But they do make a difference. So with the extra fine, I can continue to use my beloved Lamy 2000 at school. I am sure that the extra fine will become as shiny and wonderful as the fine. I still very much enjoy this model of pen. I may now have to give my fine point Lamy 2000 a chance to run in the summer because it's not going to get the chance to run it in the winter. Pocket test. Yeah, these are wonderful in the pocket. They are wonderful. I've been wearing a lot less dress shirts. I've been wearing more stuff like this lately. I realized I don't look like a high school student anymore. I now look more like I'm in college. So I look a little older than the students now. So I just decided one day, was it last year I think, I don't need to wear the tie every day. So I haven't worn a tie since, except for a funeral I went to. So anyway, I really enjoying these nibs. It's fun trying out the extra fine, and it reminds me I would like to try at some point a Lamy medium nib. I do have a medium oblique somehow, and it's not in a Lamy 2000 anymore. It's in a different pen, but that's a story for another time. But anyway, still in love with the Lamy 2000. Had to modify my dreams a little bit, but it's a relationship that hasn't ended. And I think I'm converting other pen reviewers because even Hemingway Jones now has a Lamy 2000 despite a professed dislike for the pen. So, there's a reason this pen has been around since the 60s. It is just well designed and well made. So anyway, I want to thank you for watching. We'll talk to you later. Bye bye.